The rain poured relentlessly that evening, drenching the busy streets of New York City. James Harper, a single father of a spirited six, your old girl named Lily, hurried along the sidewalk, his worn leather jacket doing little to shield him from the storm. He had been working 2 jobs just to make ends meet, and today he had no choice but to pass by the sparkling glass doors of one of the city's most luxurious hotels, because that's where life had a strange, unexpected twist waiting for him. Inside, a woman with the kind of presence that could stop a room, her hair glinting like spun gold, and eyes sharp yet weary, was packing in her penthouse suite. She was a billionaire known for her empire of businesses and her seemingly untouchable life. But behind the wealth and glamour was a person carrying a secret, a desperate fear that only someone with a pure heart could understand. Her name was Evelyn Sinclair. James didn't know it yet, but tonight the path of his ordinary life and her extraordinary world would collide in the most unexpected way. Before we continue this powerful story, make sure to like, share, and subscribe to Ripple of Kindness, where every story reminds us that kindness still matters. Evelyn looked out at the city lights, her hands trembling slightly. She had received news that could ruin everything she had built, a scandal that would strike at the heart of her family, and she had only one chance to protect herself and her younger sister, who lived far away and knew nothing about the heist. Dake's world, Evelyn navigated daily. She needed someone believable, someone with integrity, someone who could play the part of a devoted husband, even if just for a few weeks. And that's when she found James. He was fixing a small leak in a neighboring apartment, a man who carried himself with quiet dignity, despite the hardships etched into his face. Evelyn approached him, her voice wavering, almost pleading. "Please, I need you to pretend to be my husband just for a little while," she said, desperation lacing her words. James froze, staring at her, bewildered. A billionaire asking him, a single dad barely scraping by, to play husband. It sounded absurd, even comical. But then she added something that stopped him in his tracks. One condition. You have to agree without asking any questions about why or how. I can't explain, not yet. But I promise it's for something truly important. The audacity of the request was shocking. James's first instinct was to refuse. But as he looked at her, the fear behind her poised exterior, something stirred inside him, a memory of all the times he had wished someone would help him when life felt impossibly heavy. And for a moment he thought about Lily and how he wanted her to grow up believing in the goodness of people. He nodded. "All right, I'll do it," he said, even though he had no idea what he was agreeing to. What followed was surreal. Evelyn and James presented themselves as a perfect couple at a high-profile charity gala, holding hands, smiling, and navigating conversations with Grace and Lily. Well, Lily was thrilled to see her dad dressed sharp and walking confidently beside a woman whose aura radiated both warmth and strength. Days turned into weeks, and during that time James discovered something unexpected. Evelyn, despite her wealth, had no real family around. Her life was lonely, filled with meetings, contracts, and obligations. And yet, in his simple acts of kindness, making her tea just the way she liked it, listening without judgment, laughing at her bad jokes, she found something she had long forgotten: human connection. Then came the twist. Evelyn's sister, the one she had been protecting, arrived unexpectedly. And when she saw James playing the role of the caring husband, she didn't see deception. She saw love, sacrifice, and honesty, the very traits she had thought only existed in fairy tales. James realized that his act of kindness, his willingness to step into a world so far from his own, had a ripple effect he could never have imagined. Ellen's family was safe, her sister reassured, and for the first time she allowed herself to be vulnerable, to rely on someone else. On the last evening of their arrangement, as the city skyline shimmered under the golden sunset, Evelyn turned to James. Tears glistened in her eyes. "Thank you," she whispered. "For everything, not just for pretending, but for being someone I could trust when I needed it most." James smiled, watching Lily twirl in her new dress. "Sometimes," he said softly, "we help each other without realizing how much we're helping ourselves." As they stood there bathed in the warm glow of the setting sun, James understood that life didn't always follow the plans we make. Sometimes the most profound change comes from an act of simple kindness, a choice to step into someone else's world, even for just a moment. And in that moment, the billionaire and the single dad both learned a truth that money could never buy. Compassion, courage, and selflessness have the power to change lives forever. So whenever you think your small acts of kindness don't matter, remember James and Evelyn. Sometimes the smallest gesture, just saying yes, just showing up can become the turning point in someone's life. Because in the end, love and humanity are the greatest treasures we can give, and the ones that last far longer than wealth or fame.